Welcome back to Imchroniccallywriting, where myths and folklore from every corner of the globe come alive through original storytelling. My name is Tashawn, your guide on this journey into the mystical, the eerie, and the forgotten. Each episode will delve into a new tale, blending ancient legends with fresh narratives that will transport you beyond the ordinary. Today, I'll be reading an original story based off the Knack Trap from Austria. Remember that all stories are loosely based on real-life events, but are set in real-life scenarios, so enjoy it how you may. If you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, thank you for stopping by, but now it's time. Go ahead and settle in, open your mind, lay down, relax, and let the stories unfold. Before we even begin, we have to discuss what a Knack Trap even is. The Knack Trap, or Night Raven, is a South German and Austrian bugbear creature. Tales of this creature were used to scare children into going to bed. Similar legends exist in Hungary, the Czech Republic, Poland, and Russia. In most legends, the Knack Trap is described as a giant nocturnal raven-like bird. In Norse mythology, the Knack Trap is described with no eyes, which if looked into causes death. It also depicted with holes in its wings, which causes illness and diseases if looked at. The Knack Trap leaves its hiding place at night to hunt. If it is seen by little children, it will abduct them into its nest and messily devour them, first ripping off their limbs and then picking off their hearts. The origins of the Knack Trap legends are still unknown, but a connection possibly exists to rook infestations in Central Europe. Already feared due to their black feathers and scavenging diet, the mass gatherings quickly became an existential threat to farmers and gave rooks and crows their place in folklore as all-devouring monsters. Hopefully that was enough information on the Knack Trap to help you better understand the story as it unfolds. I hope that you enjoyed this story. As always, I'm chronically writing, and let's begin today's story. Nocturnal is an original short story by Tashawn Fonteneaux. Part 1. In the heart of the Austrian countryside, a small village nestled among rolling hills and vast fields of crops prepared for the harvesting season. The villagers, a close-knit community, depended heavily on their farms for sustenance and livelihood. Among them was Johann, a weathered old farmer known for his bountiful harvests and stern demeanor. Johann had a reputation for being gruff, especially when it came to protecting his precious crops. As the summer heat bore down, a group of local children sought relief from the boredom of their small village. They often played a game they called Steal the Corn, a variation of Capture the Flag, which involved sneaking to Johann's fields and pilfering a few earns of corn. Though Johann had chased them away countless times, the children found the thrill of the chase irresistible. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the children crept into Johann's fields once more. They darted between the rows of corn, giggling and whispering as they tried to outmaneuver each other. But their game quickly turned chaotic, and in their excitement, they trampled several stalks, leaving a mess in their wake. Suddenly, Johann's voice boomed across the field. "Get out of here, you little scoundrels!" he shouted, brandishing a shovel. The children scattered, but as they fled, one of the older boys turned back and shouted, "It isn't fair, old man! The Knack Trap will come for you next!" Johann's face paled at the mention of the Knack Trap, the legendary creature that haunted Austrian folklore. It was said that the Knack Trap, a monstrous raven-like bird, would come in the night to snatch away misbehaving children. Johann shook off the boy's curse, dismissing it as a childish nonsense, and returned to his house, muttering under his breath. Part 2. As the sun set and the blistering heat gave way to a cool night breeze, Johann settled into his favorite chair for a nap. The harvest was just around the corner, and he needed all the rest he could get. But as the hours passed, he was abruptly wakened by the sound of laughter and rustling in his fields. The children were back. Fuming, Johann grabbed his shotgun and stormed outside. He was greeted by the sight of his fields in ruins. The crops were trampled and destroyed beyond recognition. "You little devils!" he shouted into the darkness. "I'll have you for this!" But instead of laughter, he heard only silence. Johann's eyes darted around, searching for any sign of the children. As he moved deeper into the fields, he stumbled upon something that made his blood run cold. A massive black feather, nearly as long as his arm. He stared at it in disbelief, his mind racing. The children hadn't destroyed his crops. It was something far more sinister. A chill ran down Johann's spine as he recalled the stories of the knack trap. He had always thought them to be mere tales to frighten children, but now, standing in the ruined fields, he couldn't deny the evidence before him. The night raven was real, and it had come for the children. Just as he turned to head back to his house, a piercing scream echoed through the night. Johann looked up and saw a monstrous shape silhouetted against the moonlit sky. The knack trap, with its massive wings and eyeless face, circled above before disappearing towards the distant peak of Grossglockner Mountain. Part 3. Determined to save the children and put an end to the creature's terror, Johann grabbed a shotgun and jumped into his old truck. He drove through the night, the engine roaring as he made his way towards the Glockner Mountain. The fearsome legend of the knack trap filled his thoughts, but his resolve to rescue the children overpowered any trepidation he had felt. As Johann approached the base of the mountain, he could see the moonlit outline of a massive nest perched precariously on a cliff ledge. The journey up this steep incline was treacherous, but he pressed on, fueled by a mixture of fear and determination. When he finally reached the nest, he was horrified by what he found. Scattered around the nest were the remains of the children, their limbs torn apart in a gruesome display. Johann's heart sank at the sight, but he steeled himself, knowing that one child might still be alive. As he scanned the area, he noticed several giant eggs, each as large as humans. The realization hit him. These were the offsprings of the knack trap. A soft whimper drew his attention to the far side of the nest. There, huddled and terrified, was the last surviving child. Johann hurried over, but before he could reach the child, the air filled with a bone-chilling screech. The knack trap swooped down, its massive form blocking the moonlight. Without hesitation, Johann raised his shotgun and fired. The blast echoed through the night, and the knack trap let out a final, ear-splitting scream before collapsing to the ground. Johann rushed to the child, pulling them to safety. As they turned to leave, a sound behind them made Johann freeze. The eggs, disturbed by the commotion, began to crack open. One by one, the knack trap's offspring emerged, their eyeless heads swiveling towards Johann and the child. Johann's breath caught in his throat as the fledgling creatures surrounded them, their tiny wings beating the air in unison. Johann knew they couldn't escape. He gripped the child tightly, shielding them as best as he could. But as the baby knack trap closed in, a strange calm washed over him. He had faced the monster and tried to save the children. In that moment, he made peace with whatever fate awaited them. As the fledglings advanced, Johann whispered a quiet prayer, hoping that the stories of the knack trap would end with him. The moon shone brightly over the mountain, illuminating the scene as the creatures prepared to feast. Thank you for checking out today's story titled Nocturnal. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and like the video. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to follow if you haven't already. I post daily stories to keep you up at night, so if you have a folklore, myth, or legend in mind that you want me to write about, let me know down below in the comments. Once again, my name is Tashawn and I'm chronically writing, and I'll see y'all in our next story. Have a blessed day.